What's going on, everyone? It's King Tuts Pro and welcome back to another Final Cut Pro 10 tutorial. Thank you so much for stopping by to watch another video of mine. In today's video, I'm going to show you the top 5 music video transitions for Final Cut Pro 10. No plugins, no special software required, and no packs are needed for this tutorial pretty much. So this is the effect that I've done, and this is going to be the frame shake. So coming from Dutchavelli. So if I push play, you're going to see what it looks like. It looks really cool. It's very clean and simple, and it works. So you're going from one scene like this to another scene like outside, which is kind of nice. All right, so first things first, you want to have your first clip. So I'm going to use the blade tool. Before you actually start cutting, you want to make sure that you increase the scale a little bit to about 10%. Mine's usually yours will be at 100% when it's filmed and edited. Trim this. So I'm going to press the B key to trim that clip. So now we're going to have this clip here and just move the different scene of that clip and move it below this one. So once you're here, you want to trim the next clip, which is going to be here. So trim that. You want to move that back next to this one. So once you're at this point, all you have to do is go to the top clip, which is this one that you want to use as the transition. Use the blade tool to trim it around halfway. So once you're at this point, you want to select the first clip, and we're going to scale this down. So go to the transform tool in the inspector window, go to the scale, and we're going to scale this down around here to about 70%. So it's going to go like this, there, and then we're going to make this a bit smaller than that second clip, or that first clip, so around here. It's going to go like this. Perfect. Now you want to select it, right click, go to new compounds clip to create a grouped clip, and I'm going to just name this shake effect or transition, whatever you want to call it. Once you have done this, you want to go and find where the second clip goes smaller, so around here. I'm going to use the blade tool to trim that, make sure it's correct. Perfect. So once we're there, we're going to move the time head, which is this, to the beginning of that first clip. Select the first clip. You want to then go to the transform tool, go to the position and add a keyframe right over here. Then you want to go one frame to the right, press the right arrow key on your keyboard. Then you want to go and change this. I would make this very minor, so move this to the left, clicking and dragging and making the y-axis up like that. Then click off of it and go one frame to the right again and do the opposite. So I would just go like this, and I would maybe move this down so you can see what it looks like. Then click off of it, go one frame to the right again, and just do the same thing, going like that. You can make this really random if you want. And then after that last adjustment, which is this one, go one frame to the right. We're going to add a 0 in the y-axis, so type in 0, press enter, and the x-axis, type in 0, and it should go back to how it was. So if I push play, looks like this. Then do the same thing, so we can press Command C, so we don't have to repeat all of that. Select the second one, press Shift Command V, click paste. So now if I push play, looks like this as well. And we can do this manually again. So select the new scene, which is this one. Go to the transform tool, add a new keyframe to the position, then go one frame to the right, and just do this again however you want it to look like. So I'm going to go like that. One frame again to the right. I'm going to move this up where it kind of was. Perfect. And then for the last one, after that last adjustment, we're going to type in 0 and then type in 0 there. So now if we go out and we push play, looks just like that. Really smooth and really clean. If it's a little bit complicated, I'm sorry, just go back and slow it down if I went a little too fast. All you're doing is really just adding a keyframe, going one frame to the right and just changing these, and then just changing it after you're done. On that last one, just go add a keyframe and type in 0 to center that. And you should have this effect, which is really, really cool. So let's jump into the number 2 for the music video transitions. All right, so this next transition, I named it the freeze frame zoom in or drop in, and it's very, very easy to do. Let me show you what I created with this video, and as you've already probably seen from the demo, I'm just gonna push play, and this is the one that I've created. It's that simple, it's really that easy, and let me show you how to do it. All right, so what you wanna do is you want to start with your 2 different scenes. So I have this one here, and then I have this separate clip, which is entirely different, another scene. So what I wanna do is I want to mask out the cat and use that as the transition. So you're gonna see that cat here, and then it's going to smoothly zoom in into this next scene. So very simple. Move the time head, which is this, to the very beginning or anywhere where you want that scene to start. Just make sure that you have it there. I personally like to trim the next clip to where I want it to start, which is here, and where I want the freeze frame to start as well. So I'm going to go to the top and go to edit. Then you want to go to the bottom where it says add freeze frame, or option F for the shortcut. This will then create a little snapshot or a picture of wherever you left the time head at. Trim this right over here, around there, maybe a couple of seconds, I would say here, and then drag this to the left on top of this, so it'll look like this. So you can try this out just by pushing play, and it should look like this. Right, so what we're going to do from this point is mask out the cat. So go to the effects, go to masks, go to draw mask, and drag that directly onto that freeze frame clip. Then you just want to mask out the cat. So I'm going to do that really quickly. So I'm going to just make a selection here. It doesn't matter if you're, careful with this. I think if you want it to look the best, you would want to, of course, take your time. I, however, am not going to take that much time with this, so bear with me. So once you are here, you're going to click on that to finish off the masking. Now what you want to do from this point is go to the draw mask over here in the inspector tab, go to the feather, and we're going to drag this to the right to increase the feather a little bit. You don't have to if you want to. Once you're at this point, what you want to do is trim this a little bit. It's just a picture, so it doesn't really matter. It's just going to, what really matters is that it continues off exactly where it left off, like this. So it's a seamless transition. Now, once you're at this point, we're going to go to the transform tool right over here. Click on this, or you can go into the transform option in the transform tab and go to the position. You're going to have X and Y. Click and drag the X axis off like that. So move it to the right. I want it to come in from the right to left. I think that will look the best. You can do from left to right. It really doesn't matter as long as we leave off with the same exact spot as this next clip. So right now it's off. There's no keyframes. Now we're going to add our first keyframe, and I'm going to start it at the very beginning. So now what I'm going to do is go back to this right over here. Click on this. Click on the little keyframe button. Now we're going to move the time head to a couple of frames in, maybe like that. Now I'm going to, instead of moving it like this, I'm going to go to the position and do it that way. So I'm going to type in 0, press enter, and this will be the exact spot where we created our frame or our freeze frame. So that way we can continue the video seamlessly like this. If it's off, let's say it's like over here, and I play, it's going to look like this. That's not seamless, and it doesn't look that good. So just like, just a little FYI. So now when I push play, it's going to look like that. We can then just end it like this. However, we can make it look a little nicer. So once we're done with that, just click done, go to the effects tab, and we're going to go to the blur right over there, and I'm going to add a directional blur. So drag that onto that freeze frame, zoom in a little bit so you can see the individual frames. I'm going to move the time head at the beginning, go to the directional blur right over here in the inspector tab, and I'm going to move this to, let's see what it looks like. So I'm going to increase this to here. And the angle, I'm going to do 180, so 180 degrees, so the direction's coming from right to left. So now I'm going to increase the amount, drag it like that, make it a little bit dramatic. Right there looks good. So move it now back to the beginning, add a keyframe right over here. Then what you want to do is move it around here, so a couple frames before it actually settles, like there, maybe here. I'm then going to click on this and type in 0. So it will kind of fade off a little bit. Perfect. So that's pretty much the freeze frame drop-in transition. It's really clean and simple to do, and it doesn't require any plugins. Let's move on to number 3. This third transition, music video transition, is probably one of the easiest ones out of the 5 here in this video, and that's going to be a speed ramp transition. And I've seen this a lot in a lot of music videos. This is one of the very most popular transitions just because it's very simple and it doesn't really require actual like zoom in and zoom out transitions. I think those are kind of overrated, and this one's very subtle and it works. So this is the one that I've created, and you've probably already seen the demo and just how it works. And this is exactly how it's done. So if I push play, it goes from normal speed to super fast, it's continuing super fast and it slows down to normal speed again. So if I push play, it's going to look like this. And it looks so clean, and I'm going to show you how to do it. What you need for this effect or transition is the actual video here. So this is the demo. So if I push play, it's roughly a second long, and then the next one is about 2 seconds long as well, or maybe a second and a half. So it looks like this. Now, I would suggest having similar lighting as well as similar, of a scene. Even though it's more of a transition, it still works. I think it just looks a lot cleaner if it's around the same scene, if that makes sense. If it's two completely different scenes, it might look a little odd. But you can try it out and see what it looks like. But I'm going to show you how to do it. So this is the normal speed here. Looks okay. What I want to do is I want to zoom this up. So press Command R for the first clip as well as the second clip by pressing Command R on both. Then what you want to do is you want to go to a place where you want it to speed up very fast. I want it to be around here. Keep in mind that the length of the video does matter. So if it's like a second long or even half a second long, maybe 30 frames, you're not going to have that much room to play with the speed ramp. So I would suggest a max of 5 seconds so you really can control the speed of this. So once you're here, press Shift B to create that split in the speed ramping or the retiming option. Then go to the end of the first clip right over here and click and drag this all the way to the left to around, I don't know, 700% or something, so it speeds up very fast. So if I push play, looks like this. Normal, and then it goes super fast. I mean, this doesn't really matter, right? And then here also doesn't really matter, maybe around here. Shift B, then click and drag this point here all the way to the left as far as you can go. So I think this one goes to roughly like 600% or something. So now if I go back and I push play, looks like that, and it's so clean. And I can also click and drag this to make it longer as well. So you really don't sacrifice any of the actual length of the clip. So if I push play, looks like that, and it looks very clean. Sorry for the jitterness. I am recording this, so it may be a little bit slow, but that's what it looks like, and that's a transition. So jumping into number 4. Alright, so this next transition is going to be the RGB Glitch, which is a really simple transition, I think, in my opinion. But let me show you how the transition looks like. So this is the one that I've applied. So when I push play, you're going to see what it looks like. So this is the one that I've done, and it looks really clean. It still looks simple and pretty close to the actual music video itself. So let me show you how it's done. Now, I did use an actual transition for this, which is just a cross dissolve. It's pretty simple, but it's just to smooth out the effects that I've applied. So I'm going to show you how to do it. Things first, have 2 different clips with 2 different scenes. As you can see here, select the first clip, and we're going to increase the scale to 110%. So this is the normal clip. If I reset everything, so this is what it looks like. I'm going to go to the scale right over here and type in 110% to scale the full clip, so we have some space around the edges. Do the same thing for the second clip. So I'm going to reset this and go to the scale all and type in 110% and hit enter. Now what I want to do is I want to go roughly a couple frames here. So if I push play, it's going to look like this, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. So once we're at this point, we're going to move the time head towards the ending. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to go actually a couple frames around halfway, because there's not that much frames there, so this may vary. However, go into the transform and go to position. You're going to have X and Y. Again, click on the X axis to add your first keyframe and hit right on the arrow key, and we're going to start moving this again. So we're going to go left and just make this random. I'm going to do something like this. Okay, and maybe here. So if I go 1 frame to the left, it's going to look like that. Then go again 1 frame to the right again, and I'm going to go something like this. Maybe something like up. So it should look like this. And then this next one, I'm going to go left a little bit more, and I'm going to go down, something like this. So if I push play, it looks like it shakes. And on the x-axis right over here, I'm going to go down. Whoops, y-axis actually. Go here, and I'm going to move it to the right again. Go 1 frame and just do the same thing a couple of times, and something like this. So if I push play, it's going to look like that. Perfect. So now once we're at this point, we're going to do the same thing for the second clip. So before you do that, we're going to move this here. there. Add a keyframe now, and then go one frame to the right, and then start moving your points around. So just do something like this, move this up, and go one frame to the right again, and just do the same thing. So I'm gonna go down like that, one frame to the left, move it left, go up again. Perfect. So now if I push play, looks like that. Kind of cool, kind of like a jittery effect. Now we're gonna go back to the first clip, and we're gonna go one frame to the left here, and we're gonna go into the over here to the color option, to the no corrections here. You're gonna click the down arrow, go to the color board, click on this, and you're gonna have exposure. You're gonna have now a keyframe option. So I'm going to move this the second to the last frame. Go to the top, hit the keyframe button, then move the time head to the end, maybe one frame to the left here. I guess that would work. And then we're going to increase this all the way up to white. So it looks like this. It's going to go whoosh. And then from here, we're going to select the second clip and do the same exact thing except in the beginning. So we're going to start with white. So we're going to go to the no corrections tab, click on this, go to the color board. And now we're going to have the keyframe option. So I'm going to hit the keyframe and move the exposure all the way up. And now I'm going to go one frame to the right. And I'm going to then move the exposure all the way back to where it was. So it looks like this. Perfect. So now once we're at this point, we're going to add an effect. So go to the effects tab and go to the prism blur and drag that on here. And do the same thing for here as well. So if I push play, it's going to look like this. So I push play. Perfect. It's going to look like this. Super, super cool. And we can use the cross dissolve now for this last clip there and make it super short. Push play. Now it fades off as super smooth like that. So now let's jump into the last Final Cut Pro 10 music video transition. Last but not least, this is going to be the strobe kind of flicker transition. This one's really easy to do. It's more of like a little bit of a spin-off from this last one that I showed you, and that's just going to be on one clip, and we're mostly affecting the highlights. So if I push play, this you've probably already seen the demo, but I'm gonna show it to you again just for reference. So I'm gonna push play, and you can see it's just a very simple like a flicker transition. So this is the normal video. Looks I mean, it looks great, but I mean, if you wanted to do a better of a transition like this, you can. You can spice it up by doing something as simple as this. So all you got to do is move the time head, which is this right at the end of that first clip. So make sure you have two different scenes. And what I want to do is go into the color option over here for the color inspector. If you're over here, just click on this right here. If you're on the new one, just click add color board right over here to add our first color correction. Now what we're going to do from this point is we're going to go a couple of frames, back, so we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to do about 6 frames is okay. You can do 7. Now what you're going to do from this point is add a keyframe. So we're going to add a keyframe there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go one frame to the right, and we're going to increase the highlights all the way up. Then we're going to go one frame to the right again and move the highlights all the way back to where it was. Do the same thing, move the highlights all the way up again. And then what you're going to do from this point is go one frame to the right again. And then we're now going to slowly but surely go and move the, it looks like the shadows all the way up. And then do the same thing, one keyframe over to the right, and just do the same thing all the way until you don't see it again. And do the same thing. So now if we go back and I push play, it looks like this, and it's like a strobe kind of flicker effect, and it looks very, very good for a transition. It's a lot cleaner than what it would look like before. So this is without it. I mean, it still looks good. However, I think adding a little bit of finesse would look a lot better. So now this is with our transition that we made. You can see it's a lot better and a lot more dynamic in my opinion. So those are the 5 music video transitions for Final Cut Pro 10. No plugins are required. If you guys found it helpful and useful, please let me know down below. Let me know what I need to improve on. If you guys found this video helpful, a like will be much appreciated, guys. Subscribe, turn on the bell notifications so you guys don't miss out on a video like this one. And I have a lot of other videos coming soon, so let me know what you want to watch in the comment section below. Until then, take care.